All right, so the Philadelphia Eagles went out and they defeated the Miami Dolphins with a score of 31-17. This was a much needed victory. We went out there, we played a great team game against a really, really good team that had a really, really potent offense, and we slowed down the run game. We kept Tyreek Hill under 100 yards. He had 88 yards. So we're just going to talk about this victory and what I thought about it. So let's get into it. So in today's episode, we're going to be going over the Week 7 matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins. The Eagles came out with a victory. We moved to 6-1 with a victory over the Miami Dolphins with a score of 31-17. But before we get into it, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit that like button, and make sure you guys are leaving comments down in the comment section below if you want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles or football in general. But with that being said, let's get into the video. So the first thing that I want to talk about is I want to talk about the offense. I think this offense played really, really good. I think Jalen Hurts led this team. He stood in there. He made plays. A.J. Brown went off. We'll talk about him a little bit later. The only thing that I want to talk about right this second is the coaching. I think Brian Johnson did a pretty decent job with the coaching overall throughout the whole entire game. The only thing that I had a problem with was on the very first drive when we went down and we did 2 QB runs in the red zone, and we just stalled out, and we ended up only getting 3 points on that first drive. That was really the only thing that I had a problem with. Now, I was going off a little bit at the beginning of the game, saying like just being like, what is he doing? What is this offense doing? Why can't they just change us? And, I didn't really have a problem with them after that. I might have overreacted just a little bit, but it was just frustrating, just this Eagles, they have so many good weapons on this offensive side of the ball for them to be slowing down whenever they get in the red zone and just only coming out with 3 points. Really, that was my only problem that I had with Brian Johnson in this game. I think the offense went out there and they did their job. And besides the fumble and the interception that Jalen Hurts had, I think Jalen Hurts played phenomenal. He had the problem with his knee. He was just being a true leader. He put the team on his back later in the game, and they just went down the field after he threw that pick six, which really wasn't his fault anyways because, the ball was deflected. And that's been a lot of his interceptions. Like 3 or 4 of his interceptions have been deflections. So, yeah, they show up on the stats. He has 8 interceptions or something like that. But 3 or 4 of those you can take away with just random deflections just going the other team's way. And with the fumble, he did stay in the pocket just a little bit too long and held the ball a little bit too long and didn't protect it, and he took that sack and they ended up getting the fumble. But the good thing is the defense stepped up and they only held him to 3 points after that turnover, so we got lucky for that. But yeah, besides that, Jalen Hurts, he just every week he just has this poise to him, and everybody knows this. He just comes out and he plays his freaking ass off, and he leaves everything out on the field. There's nothing more that I can say. I'm happy that he's our quarterback, and he fits his team perfectly. The next thing I want to talk about the distribution on the offensive side of the ball. I think that there was a really good distribution of the ball in this game. Dallas Goedert was getting involved, Devontae Smith was getting involved, and A.J. Brown went off just like every single week. And yeah, Devontae Smith only had 40-something yards, but he has some crucial catches. And I just like the way that they distribute the ball. I don't think that this is going to be a sign for Devontae Smith. I think he's going to have a 100-yard plus game coming up here soon. It's just the way that it's going with A.J. Brown. He is just dominating, and that's something else that I want to talk about. He went off. A.J. Brown had his 5th straight 125-yard plus game, tying Calvin Johnson. He just needs one more, and he's going to break the record with Calvin Johnson. And people want to say that they didn't want this wide receiver on this team just because he was getting a little bit nippy on the sideline with Jalen Hurts. You guys were crazy. Anybody who said anything about getting rid of or that A.J. Brown was a diva on this team, sorry. We just need to take a moment of silence for you. But anyways, I want to talk about the run-pass balance, and I also thought that was very, very well in this game. I think the Eagles threw the ball 31 times, and they ran the ball 34 times. That is perfect. That's almost a near 50-50 balance where this team should be. It could be one way or the other, just depending on how the game goes, maybe 60-40, with 60% passing and 40% running, or 60% running or 40% passing. And that is just that's just what this team is. This team can go out in 1 week it could be the run that gets them the victory, where they run more and they get the victory. And then the next week it can be the pass game is what gets them the victory, and they chill out on the run. Like, that is a good team. This is why the Philadelphia Eagles are the best team in the NFL. And if you have anything to say about that, you can say what you want. But at the end of the year, I just feel like the Eagles are just getting everything together. This team is really special. This team can win in a lot of ways, and I'm excited to see what we do offensively. Going down the stretch of these next couple division games and these big games like against the Commanders, the Cowboys, and the Chiefs. We just got to see what happens there, and I'm really excited. And hopefully this offense just carries on, and hopefully Brian Johnson is just starting to get it together. Things are starting to click. He's starting to agree with some ways that they have to call the plays, but that's really all that I have to say about the game. I just want to go over some stats here real quick. Jalen Hurts was 23 for 31 with 279 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, interception, 3 sacks, and like I said about the interception, you can't do anything about that. It was a deflection. Deandre Swift 15 carries, 62 yards. Jalen Hurts, 11 carries, 21 yards, 1 touchdown. Kenneth Gainwell, 8 carries, 16 yards, 1 touchdown with a team total of 99 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pretty good on the ground against the Miami Dolphins. A.J. Brown, 10 catches, 137 yards with a touchdown. Dallas Goedert, 5 catches, 77 for a touchdown. Devontae Smith, 4 catches for 49. Longest was 25 yards. DeAndre Swift, 3 for 13. Julio Jones, 1 for 3. And that is basically it on the offensive side of the ball. So let's move to, another thing I want to talk about, this can be for offense and defense, is 0 penalties on either side of the ball. Now we're going to talk about that missed face mask call here whenever I'm talking about the defensive side of the ball, but I just wanted to say 0 penalties, and that is great. If you're a well-coached team, if you can go out there and have 0 penalties, that you're just a well-coached team. But let's talk about this defense. So the first thing I want to talk about in the defense is the Philadelphia Eagles stopped the run game. I'm pretty sure the Miami Dolphins had like an insanely low amount of yards. Was it like 7 yards or something by like almost like halftime? Like, that is insane. The Miami Dolphins have had running backs run for over 200 yards in this season, over 150 yards. A-Chain, like, he went off for 200 yards in a game. He went over like 150 in another game. This team could run the ball, and they couldn't against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I just wanted to say this Eagles defense held this potent and dangerous Miami Dolphins offense to 12 first downs through the whole game, while the Eagles had 26. They kept them to 4 and 11 on third down, 0 for 2 on fourth down, while the Eagles were 4 for 4 on fourth down. Like, this was good. They held this offense to 244 total yards, to an offense that put up 70 points against a team in the NFL. And I know it's a week-to-week league, but this Dolphins team is potent, and you just held them to 244 yards. Congratulations. That whole entire defense played their asses off once again. I'm really liking this defense. I'm really liking the way that Sean Desai is coaching it, and they also held the Miami Dolphins to 45 rushing yards for the whole entire game. So sorry, my microphone just cut out there if it's like being a little bit weird. And this defense also only allowed 10 offensive points to the Miami Dolphins. The other touchdown came off of the pick six that Jalen Hurts threw. So this defense really came and they stepped it up. They didn't want to play bad in front of their fans, and I don't think that they let the fans down. This offensive side of the ball or this defensive side did not let these fans down. These cornerbacks played press up on these wide receivers, which helped this defensive line get to Tua, and the defensive line got into Tua's face, and Hassan Reddick was just causing havoc on all these runs. He was just stuffing these runs. Josh Sweat had 2 sacks. Jordan Davis was just eating up blocks and everything, and so was Jalen Carter. Like Jordan Davis I think he had like half a sack. I want to say, give me 1 second. Yeah, Jordan Davis had half a sack, and Jalen Carter didn't have a sack, but I think Jalen Carter should have had a sack because, like, even though Tua gave himself up, Jalen Carter was still the one who officially, like, tapped him so that he was down and the play was over. But, that is what it is. Like I said, Hassan Reddick was a huge part of that. Like, the Dolphins just could not get this run game going, and I think that was a huge part. This defensive line made the Miami Dolphins one-dimensional, and they just couldn't do what they always do. Yeah, Tyreek Hill had 88 yards, but usually Tyreek Hill's having 150. maybe 200 yards, a couple touchdowns. He had 88 yards and a touchdown. This defense did its job. Like, there's nothing that I could say. I have nothing bad to say about this defense. Like, yeah, sure, we gave up some things, and Terrell Edmonds wasn't there for the safety help with James Bradbury, and he got that touchdown. But there's nothing that I could say bad about this defense. They played lights out. And another person I want to talk about on this defense is Eli Ricks. He went up against Tyreek Hill, and he caused a pass deflection. You know, Eli Ricks wasn't in there that much, or at least I didn't see him in there that much, but whenever I saw him, he was making plays. He was doing good. He wasn't getting the ball thrown on him. And I'm super excited to see what he does here further down the line for this Philadelphia Eagles team. I really think that he's an emerging corner for this team, and he's highly, highly capable and has the potential to take Darius Slay's spot or James Bradbury's spot whenever the time comes a couple seasons down the road here. And speaking about Darius Slay, you know, people could talk what they want about him and say that maybe he's getting a little bit old and he's not big play Slay anymore. Well, guess what? Darius Slay sealed the game for us. He came out with an interception. He read that pass. He went and got it, and he sealed the game for us. So if anybody has anything bad to say about Darius Slay, you know, just I wouldn't really say it, because he helped us with this game. Darius Slay still has that big play ability. He's always gonna step up for us. These good players on this team are always gonna step up for us. And the last thing I want to talk about is the players of the game. I'm basically just gonna say the players of the game was the whole entire team. This was a huge team win for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think everybody on all sides of the ball, they knew what they had to do. They all took accountability from the loss against the Jets, and they came out and they just played. They meshed well. The coaching was good. Other than that first drive on offense, I feel like just everything just started clicking. You know, the Dolphins came back a little bit. You know, when we were up 17-3, they ended up making it 17-17. But this team was like, no, we're not going to let you score any more points on offense, and we're going to go score 2 more touchdowns and get an interception to steal the game. So that is basically my player of the game, was the whole entire team. But if I had to pick one on offense and defense, I'm going to say A.J. Brown, because he's just been going off, and I'm excited to see if he breaks his Calvin Johnson's record of 125-yard plus games with 6 of them in this next game against the Commanders, which is highly possible because it's against the Commanders. And for the defensive side of the ball, I'm going to say Hassan Reddick, just because every single time that I saw Hassan Reddick, he was making a play. He was having a tackle for loss. He just had a really good game. He didn't have any sacks, but he was there and helped neutralize this run game, which was what the Eagles needed to do to be able to beat the Miami Dolphins, and held their offense to 10 points. So I'm going to say Hassan Reddick is our defensive player of the game, even though there's so many players. One of my players of the games, even though there's so many players on this team that I could shout out. So it's basically the whole entire team. But that's basically going to wrap it up for this video. I am highly happy. This was a huge game that the Philadelphia Eagles had to go out there and win. We are 6-1. I know that this video has been posted late, but the 49ers lost, so they are now sitting at 5-2. Something like that. Yeah, 5-2. So the Eagles and Chiefs are the only team left in the NFL with a 6-1 record. It's starting to look good for the Philadelphia Eagles. I just feel like things are starting to mesh. And once again, I'm super happy with this win. I like the way that everybody played. There were mistakes. Oh, last thing I want to touch on, before I forget about it, is that missed face mask penalty call. Oh, well, you know, things happen. The Eagles have had things missed on them, and we're like, where is it at? And it just hasn't been there. But guess what? The Dolphins ended up getting a pick 6 a couple plays later, so it worked in their favor anyways. Like, they got a touchdown. If they were going to score a touchdown on that offensive drive, they got it. They got their karma, and they got the pick 6. So that's basically what I'm going to say for that. So that's going to be it for this video. Like I said in the beginning of the video, if you guys are new, make sure you guys are hitting that subscribe button. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button. Make sure you guys are leaving comments down in the comment section below if you want to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles or football in general. But with that being said, I'll see you guys a little bit later in the week with another video. So have a great day, everyone. Peace.